We've seen how useful ActionScript can be for controlling timelines and specifically animation. Now it's time to move to the next step and give our end user control. To create true user interactivity, we actually give our users the ability to work with different types of symbols on the stage and use them as controls, specifically buttons and movie clip symbols. To give life to buttons or movie clips, however, we first have to understand the concept of instance names. To get started, open up the rccar5.fla file in this lessons folder, and let's take a look at our stage. At the very top, you'll see 3 buttons labeled Go, Stop, and Lights. If you click on the first green button above the Go label and take a look at the Properties panel, you'll see this is simply an instance of a button symbol from our library. At some point, we're definitely going to want our user to be able to click on this button to get the RC car to go, to click on the Stop button to get it to stop, or maybe to even click on this Lights button to activate the headlights. However, to make these buttons recognized by ActionScript, we first need to assign each one what's referred to as an instance name. An instance name is a unique ID that we can give to a specific copy or instance of a symbol on our stage. Once a button or a movie clip instance has an instance name, we can target it from within our ActionScript and specifically from the Actions panel and give it instructions. For instance, we can tell ActionScript that if a specific button called Go button on the main stage is clicked, to respond by carrying out some type of action, specifically maybe playing the timeline. First, however, we need to make it so that ActionScript can find each of these instances. Go ahead and select the Go button, and let's take a look at the Properties panel. You'll see at the very top there's an instance name type-in field. Here we can assign a specific instance name to this specific copy of this symbol. Later on, we can use that same instance name to target it with ActionScript. To assign a symbol an instance name, go ahead and click inside the instance name type-in field and simply type in a name. Now keep in mind that instance names, since they're going to be used in ActionScript, have a few restrictions. The first is no dead white spaces. So something like Go space BTN, like I've typed here, actually isn't going to work too well. We also want to avoid any funky punctuation, such as exclamation points, number signs, and so on. We're restricted to using upper and lowercase letters and numbers only. The one symbol we can use, however, is an underscore. So one way we may name this is Go underscore BTN, just like I've done here. Now part of this name I've entered is arbitrary, the Go part anyway, but the underscore BTN is actually one of a few common naming conventions used in Flash. Underscore BTN not only identifies this to ActionScript as a button symbol, and in turn actually pops up some useful hints in the Actions panel, but also makes it easier to figure out what Go BTN is if we're simply looking at the Actions panel without a visual reference. So in general, if you're naming a button symbol instance, it's good to use that underscore BTN suffix for a number of reasons. Go ahead and type in Go underscore BTN and hit enter or return. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with our remaining 2 buttons, since ultimately we're going to want our user to work with these as well. Go ahead and select the red button above the Stop label, go back to the Properties panel, click in that instance name type-in field, and let's follow that same convention by typing Stop underscore BTN. Now keep in mind that instance names are case sensitive, so we can use a variety of casing structures here, but I'm keeping it simple by using all lowercase. This way later on it'll make it easier for me to make sure I'm typing the right thing into the Actions panel when it's time to work with this button. Let's do the same thing for the Lights button. Go ahead and select the yellow button above the Lights label, go back to the instance name type-in field, and assign this instance a name of Lights underscore BTN. In addition to button symbol instances, we can also assign instance names to movie clip instances. This is useful if we want to use a movie clip as a control, or if we want to target a movie clip's timeline and control its respective animation. Let's take a look at our RC car in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Before we work with this, we're going to want to go down to the timeline and unlock the animation layer if it's not already unlocked. This way we can click on the RC car like I'm doing here and select it. If you go back to the upper right-hand corner of your workspace to the Properties panel, you'll see that the RC car can also have an instance name assigned. Later on, we may decide that we want to target this car and do something with it or control its timeline. So for this, we're going to go ahead, click inside the instance name field, and give this the name of truck underscore MC. Now you'll notice I followed a similar naming convention here, but instead of using the underscore BTN suffix, I used underscore MC. Again, this is another common naming convention, MC being short for movie clip, that makes it easy to figure out in my code what truck_MC is, and it also will pop up a few useful code hints in the actions panel when it comes time. Again, just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to leave my instance names all lowercase, although you can do differently for your specific files or symbols. Now that we've assigned instance names to our 3 buttons and to our RC car, we're ready to move ahead and actually start targeting these with ActionScript.